announcement of filed federal charges stemming from the disruption of an alleged New Year's Eve attack. Our speakers today are Russ Ferguson, U.S. Attorney for the Western District of North Carolina, and James C. Barnacle, Jr., Special Agent in charge of the FBI in North Carolina. Chief Joseph Hatley with the Mint Hill Police Department is also in attendance today. Everybody has had an opportunity to have the handouts, which is a press release and the filed court documents. The press release is also going to go out after the press conference. As a reminder, the charges are allegations, and the defendants are always presumed innocent until proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt in a court of law. After the speakers have completed their remarks, there is going to be a brief Q&A session, and we will take questions related to this announcement. Before asking your question, please share your name and the name of the outlet that you're with. And as always, you're welcome to email me, and of course I will be here if you have any questions, okay? And we will begin promptly at 11:30.
Good morning. Happy New Year, and it is a Happy New Year, although it came very close to not being such a Happy New Year for a lot of people this year. I'm here to announce, in partnership with the Mint Hill Police Department and the FBI, that we have foiled a terrorist attack that was planned to take place on New Year's Eve in Mint Hill, North Carolina. Now, New Year's Eve, we all know, is a wonderful time where we all celebrate the past year, we look forward to and plan the next year, and everyone deserves to do that, to celebrate the new year without being concerned about their personal safety. And thanks to the law enforcement that stands with me today and others, we are fortunate that people can do that. The FBI, the Mint Hill Police Department, the New York Police Department worked around the clock on this matter, not just building a case for us, but surveilling the subject and making sure the public was safe at every moment, including Christmas Day. They worked around the clock on this, and I very much appreciate it. The defendant here lived in Mint Hill. The planned attack was to take place in Mint Hill. I want to thank Chief Joe Hatley of the Mint Hill Police Department for being with me here today and for your work over the holidays, Chief. I really appreciate it. I'm sure you know Jim Barnacle by now. He's the special agent in charge of the FBI for North Carolina. The FBI worked tirelessly on this case, and I can't thank you enough for that. FBI agents spent their Christmas Day surveilling a subject so that families in Charlotte and Mint Hill and Western North Carolina could spend their day celebrating with their families, and I'm very thankful for that. That is true public service. If you see a police officer or an FBI agent, please thank them for spending their holidays on this so that we all could spend our holidays with our families. I also want to thank the prosecutors in my office who also worked over the holidays getting a search warrant and an arrest warrant and making sure that the public was safe and that this terrorist attack was foiled. The defendant here is an 18-year-old named Christian Sturdivant. He has been planning this attack for about a year, but he's been planning an attack for far longer than that. He was planning this attack in support of ISIS, and we have charged him with attempting to provide material support to a foreign terrorist organization, that organization being, of course, ISIS. Now, this is still very much an active investigation. We had to act quickly here to protect the public. So we are light on details, but we'll tell you as much as we can. And Mr. Barnacle will probably tell you more than I will about those charges, but I thought I would give you an overview of what's in the federal complaint and the charges that we charged. So Mr. Sturdivant started on the internet. He started reading ISIS material, started going to ISIS websites, making TikTok videos, and eventually reached out to what he thought was a member of ISIS. In reality, it was an undercover agent with NYPD in New York. He pledged his allegiance to ISIS with that undercover agent, and he disclosed his plans to, quote, do jihad soon. He then met a second undercover with the FBI, who he also thought was an ISIS participant, and he started to be very specific with his plans. He talked with that undercover agent, again, who he thought was ISIS. He talked about where he was planning to do this attack, which was at a grocery store and a fast food restaurant in Mint Hill, places that we go every day and don't think that we may be harmed. He talked about what means he would use to kill innocent people. He said he was going to wear a Kevlar vest and attack people with knives and hammers. And of course, he talked about when he was going to carry out this attack, which was New Year's Eve. A time when American life is on full display, right? We're all out there in crowds celebrating all that has happened this year, all that is to come, that we are so proud of. And that is when he planned his attack to attack that American way of life. The FBI executed a search warrant at his home, and they found the instrumentalities of the attack. They found hammers and knives hidden under his bed. They found notes where he planned his attack and detailed his attack and plans for how he was going to carry out this attack. It was a very well-planned, thoughtful attack that he had planned and that was fortunately foiled here. He was preparing for jihad, and innocent people were going to die, and we were very, very fortunate they did not. But the fact that along the way, in this extensive planning of this attack, he encountered not one, but two undercover officers should make the public feel very, very good and very safe. Because law enforcement is out there every day, and we know they have a lot to do. But they have people out there making sure that as people plan these terrorist attacks, they have stops so they find it. And they did find it here. And on Christmas, while we were all opening presents, they were sitting in a driveway making sure that the public was safe. And we're very, very appreciative of that. Mr. Sturdivant was arrested on New Year's Eve, the day he planned his attack. Of course, it did not become public today. It has been under seal until today. He made his initial appearance in federal court this morning, about an hour ago, and this case is now moving through the judicial process. So he will have a preliminary hearing After that, in a detention hearing, and of course we will seek that he remain detained, but that's up to a federal judge on that issue. He faces a statutory maximum sentence of 20 years, but as I always tell you, every individual defendant gets a sentencing hearing where a judge takes into account a host of factors under the United States sentencing guidelines. They look at that individual defendant. The judge, he or she, looks at that individual defendant and makes a decision on sentencing, so we don't know what the ultimate sentence will be here. Originally, and I think it is notable, as part of their efforts, the FBI took Mr. Sturdivant to a state magistrate judge to try to have him involuntarily committed. And that was because he had threatened not only other people's lives, but in the process said that he planned to die by a policeman shooting him. So he had threatened other people's lives and self-harm, but the state magistrate judge denied involuntary commitment. Fortunately, the FBI did not give up then and continued to build a federal case and get the evidence they needed to charge him and detain him and keep everyone safe on New Year's Eve. And I'm very, very thankful for that because countless lives were saved here. On New Year's Eve, everyone is at the grocery store. We're all buying the things we need to celebrate, and we could have had a significant loss of life and significant injury here. So we will be here at the federal level dedicated to making sure the public is safe like we were in this case. And I know that there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes that's never public for investigative reasons, and it's very it brings me satisfaction to be able to tell the public what law enforcement is doing when you don't know it and what's going on behind the scenes to keep everyone safe. So with that, I will turn it over to Special Agent in Charge Barnacle, who could tell you a little bit more about the details.
Thank you, Mr. Ferguson, and thank you, Chief Hatley from the Mint Hill Police Department for your partnership in this investigation. My name is James Barnacle. I am the Special Agent in Charge of the FBI here in North Carolina. Christian Sturdivant pledged his loyalty to ISIS and committed himself to killing Americans on New Year's Eve. This investigation unfolded quickly. From the moment the FBI was notified of a potential threat of a terrorist-inspired attack in North Carolina, we went all hands on deck. We assessed the credibility of the threat. The investigation lasted about 2 weeks, included numerous investigative techniques, partnerships with law enforcement agencies, and cooperation from the American public. This Christmas, the FBI and our partners worked to protect the American people. We did not let up until Sturdivant was safely in handcuffs. FBI special agents arrested him on December 31st as he was being released from a local medical facility. On Monday night, as Russ just said, the FBI's evidence response team conducted a search, an authorized search, at his home and on his cellular phone. What we found was a manifesto, which the federal complaint alleges contained detailed plans to execute a massacre on New Year's Eve as people shop, for the holidays. Without the swift action of the FBI Joint Terrorism Task Force, New York City Police Department, the Mint Hill Police Department, and our partners at the United States Attorney's Office for the Western District of North Carolina, we could be announcing a national tragedy. Instead, a terrorist attack was thwarted. Give a little background on Sturdivant. He's a U.S. citizen. He turned 18 in December of 2025. The JTTF collected evidence showing he turned his back on his country and his fellow citizens by pledging allegiance to ISIS with the intent of becoming a martyr. We allege Sturdivant was willing to sacrifice himself by committing a terrorist attack using knives and a hammer to support the murder, torture, and extreme violence that ISIS represents. We didn't just learn about him a few weeks ago. Sturdivant first came to the FBI's radar in January of 2022 when he was still a juvenile. He was in contact via social media with an unidentified ISIS member overseas. Sturdivant received direction from this unidentified ISIS member to dress in all black, knock on people's doors, and attack them with a hammer. In fact, Sturdivant did dress in all black. He left his house with a hammer, and fortunately, his family stepped in. Sturdivant, no charges were filed at that time. He was referred for psychological care, and he underwent psychological care, of which I don't know the details. The FBI was told he no longer had access to social media. On December 18th, a week prior to Christmas, the Charlotte field office learned it wasn't true, that he was now back on social media. After several FBI offices around this country and the New York Police Department alerted the Charlotte JTTF of a TikTok account username, Abu Bakr al-Amerki, who made multiple posts in support of ISIS. Sturdivant was identified as the account holder. And with federal search warrants, the FBI obtained his previous posts to assess the extent of threats to the homeland. But according to the complaint, on or about December 12th, Sturdivant began communicating with an individual on multiple social media platforms. Unbeknownst to Sturdivant, he was talking to a government online covert employee. Within just a few days, Sturdivant direct messaged the online covert employee with a picture of 2 hammers and a knife. The message was significant since in recent years, an ISIS propaganda magazine promoted the use of knives to conduct terrorist attacks in Western countries. The same ISIS magazine which suggested using vehicles to ram crowds, like the terrorist attack last year on New Year's Day on Bourbon Street. The conversations between the undercover employee and Sturdivant escalated further. Sturdivant allegedly sent a voice recording pledging Bayat, a loyalty oath to ISIS. And on December 20th, the direct messaging allegedly showed Sturdivant asking for help getting firearms, specifically weapons, guns, to carry out the terrorist attack at a food market here in Charlotte area. Thankfully, that did not occur. This investigation was conducted by several FBI field offices, the FBI Joint Terrorism Task Force, which includes the following members: the Charlotte Mecklenburg Police Department, the Matthews Police Department, the Monroe Police Department, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, the United States Customs and Border Protection, the Federal Air Marshal Service, Homeland Security Investigations, Internal Revenue Service, IRS-CI, the United States Postal Inspection Service, U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services. Also, the NYPD, the FBI New York JTTF, the FBI Columbia Division, and the Mint Hill Police Department were instrumental in thwarting this attack. And of course, alongside our partners at the U.S. Attorney's Office in the Western District of North Carolina, and the Department of Justice. This investigation highlights the very real threat posed by people who self-radicalize online and are inspired by jihadist ideologies espoused by foreign terrorist organizations. They seek to attack soft targets with easily accessible weapons and with little to no warning. To further complicate this threat, we have seen that most successful attackers radicalize in a time span of between 1 and 4 years, and they typically mobilize to act in less than 3 months. The FBI continues to work tirelessly to combat the threats of terrorism for the American people every day. Better partnerships are not limited to just law enforcement agencies. We rely on the communities we serve and encourage the public to contact law enforcement when they see or hear something that doesn't seem right. I also have this personal message. If your child, relative, friend, or neighbor is sliding into a dangerous ideology, you'll be the first to see it. And together we can stop it. The threats we face are bigger than any one law enforcement or intelligence agency, requiring everyone who hears this message to work together to keep people safe. I want to thank the members of the Joint Terrorism Task Force that sit over here today for their diligent effort. We spoke, I can't tell you the number of hours, and this is not an attaboy to the FBI or our partners. They worked nonstop for about 14 days, 24/7, digging through everything we had and keeping surveillance on this subject so we could intervene if he were to potentially attack. Through Christmas, Christmas Eve, every single day, all weekend. So thank you for your commitment to keeping America safe. With that, turn it over to Mr. Ferguson for any questions you may have.
Well, thank you. And let me reiterate my thanks to the Joint Terrorism Task Force, to the Mint Hill Police Department, and of course to the prosecutors in my office who worked on this. So, Jennifer, yeah.
From Inspection News, North Carolina. Can you clarify where the planned attacks in Mint Hill, like which grocery store and which restaurant this was expected to take place at?
I don't believe it's public yet which grocery store and which fast food restaurant. I can tell you they were in Mint Hill. And as the investigation moves forward, I'm sure that will become public, but it's not at this point. It's on still under investigation.
One more follow-up
Sure, of
question.
course.
Make sure I understood that correctly. Did you say that the arrest took place after he received medical attention? Did I hear that correctly?
No. So the FBI went to a state magistrate judge to try to get him involuntarily committed for medical attention, and it was denied by the state magistrate.
Thank you.
Whether he got medical attention after that, I don't know. Yes.
Hi, Joe Russ
Jim.
from Charlotte Observer. I was wondering, why did the judge, magistrate, deny?
And we were not involved in the state court hearing. Obviously, we deal in federal court here. From what I understand, it was a very short hearing, and I don't know of any reasoning given.
When was it?
Yeah, that was Monday night,
Late Monday night.
In Mint Hill or Mecklenburg County?
In-
Here in Charlotte, or?
Mecklenburg County. Correct.
Thank you.
Hunter, yeah.
Hunter with Channel 9. Following up on that, Burger King is listed in the actual document with a grocery store nearby. The only grocery store nearby is Harris Teeter. Is that confirming it?
So the subject worked at Burger King. There, I believe, are a number of grocery stores within the vicinity, and we're not quite there on the exact plan of his attack, but you're on the right path.
Okay, and was this a lone wolf attack, or was there any connection to any other plots that have been foiled across the country here recently?
Yeah, that's a great question. And this subject was working alone, we believe, at this stage in the investigation. But what's interesting about that is he didn't think he was working alone. He had contacted two different members that he thought were ISIS and working with him, obtaining firearms for him. They happened to be undercover agents, so he was working alone, but it wasn't his intention to work alone. So, yeah, Katie.
Russ, Katie with WBTV. You mentioned the grandfather had tried to prevent an attack before. Were they aware of his recent posts on social media? Did they know anything about his recent planned attacks at all from your investigation?
I don't have any indication the grandparents were aware of the social media posts. What we do know is that the grandfather secured the knives in the home, secured the hammers, tried to make sure that Mr. Sturdivant did not have them, and yet when we executed the search warrant, they were found under his bed. So, thank you. Jen.
Jen Correa from Twin City News. Just wondering if the grandparents are going to be facing anything or if they're cooperating with you on this. Obviously, they knew something was up, but did they do enough to be okay?
That's a great question. The grandparents have been interviewed, and our investigation's ongoing, and we'll see where it goes. But right now, and especially in the very urgent part of this, we've been focused on Mr. Sturdivant. Hunter, yeah.
In here before that 2022, where he went out to try to stab neighbors and his grandfather stopped him, it said that before that he had pledged allegiance to ISIS. Is there any reason why he wasn't charged? I know he was psychologically examined, but why did he face any charges?
Yes,
Taking an oath?
it's a great question. That was, and I'll let you weigh in on this too. I'll note that he was a juvenile at that time. He was 14, and I do think we're very fortunate he was 18 now because it makes it a whole lot easier to bring charges. I think you had something to add.
No, I think that covers it.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, Diane.
Sorry, just following up on that too. Was that something known at the time in 2022 that he was trying to stab or kill a neighbor, or was that determined at a later investigation?
No. The FBI opened an investigation into Mr. Sturdivant in January of 2022. And we conducted a logical investigation. The case agents actually are sitting here today. And these same case agents picked up the investigation a couple weeks ago.
Are you all considering any other charges as well?
We're always considering additional charges. And so in this case in particular, because this is a very early and an ongoing investigation, we are certainly investigating and looking at other charges, whether that's a firearm charge or some other charge. Right now, we feel confident we have this charge, which is attempted material support of ISIS, but we'll see how the investigation unfolds from here.
Thank you.
Yeah, definitely. Hunter.
Question for Chief.
Of course.
If you would.
Certainly.
I mean, we see this in parts of our country, but you never think it's your own city. This is Mint Hill that is now a thwarted ISIS terrorist attack. What are your thoughts on all of this?
Truly, I believe that's everyone's famous last words. It's never going to happen here. It will never, that can't be my neighbor. It can happen anywhere.
Yeah, Diane.
I know that he spoke with two undercover agents. Did he actually ever have any interactions, do we know of, with actual members of ISIS or terrorists or anything like that?
He was a prolific poster in social media, and he also went into various social media chat rooms and engaged with other people. We are leaving no stone unturned here. Our investigation is not over at all. We are looking to find out if there are any associates, if there are any friends, if there are any people he were working with, whether it's domestically here in the United States or overseas. We have ruled out additional threats from him in the United States. We are communicating with domestic and international partners for potential other avenues of investigation.
Russ, Katie,
Yeah, Katie.
again, we just saw that thwarted attack in Seattle as well. Should we be concerned about this becoming a persistent problem in the Western District of North Carolina?
I sure hope not. I mean, I think that we should feel comfort that the FBI was there and that this defendant not only encountered one undercover agent, but encountered two, one with NYPD and one with the FBI, which I think shows you what's going on behind the scenes to protect the public. Of course, everyone should be vigilant. You know, we all know the adage, if you see something, say something, which seems kind of ridiculous at this point, but it remains true. It's little things that sometimes bring these things to the attention of law enforcement, so I hope people will do that. And like Mr. Barnacle said, in situations like this, it's really family. It's family, and monitoring, especially your children's online presence, where this defendant was on TikTok, in chat rooms, communicating with people. So remain vigilant, but I think go to sleep feeling safe at night because law enforcement is there doing their job.
And just one more follow-up
Yeah.
question. Historically, we have seen this targeting New Year's Eve events like we saw on Bourbon Street. We just finished the Truist Field celebrations. Do we know why he was targeting the grocery store chain at all, or is that not public yet?
We don't know why. I could tell you from my view, New Year's Eve is where the American way of life is on full display. We're celebrating how wonderful it is to be here and all that this country has given us. And I think for a terrorist, that is a ripe opportunity to attack that way of life.
Yeah, we do have some intelligence that he was looking at a grocery store because there would be a lot of people there. He knew there would be a lot of people there grocery shopping, which is why we said that in our remarks. He was looking for a high-profile place. There's a couple grocery stores in Mint Hill. He wasn't set on just one. He was looking at multiple, whichever one had the most people in it.
Yeah.
Anna Kane with
Hey, Anna.
WCNC. So you mentioned that he was arrested on New Year's Eve, correct?
Correct.
What was the, I guess, setup for, because, I mean, if the attack was planning to happen on New Year's Eve and he was arrested, then what was the setup there to prevent that?
So we had multiple plans in place to make sure he was not a free man on New Year's Eve and could not cause public harm. And so that included the seeking an involuntary hold for mental health purposes, which was denied. Ultimately, the arrest was made on New Year's Eve to make sure that he was safely behind bars on New Year's Eve. We did that by getting a criminal complaint from a magistrate judge late in the evening, a federal magistrate judge, and that's why it set up this process where that was under seal until today. He had his initial appearance. He will still get a preliminary hearing where he could put on evidence to say there was probable cause or not to detain him, and a detention hearing where a judge will decide if he should be detained pre-trial.
So did you believe that the attack was hours or days away? Was there any anticipation there?
So we were concerned the attack could happen at any time, and I could tell you the FBI had 24/7 surveillance on this subject, all hours of night, Christmas Day, Christmas Eve, time away from their families to make sure that the public was safe, and they were authorized to make an arrest if they needed to. If he were, if he were to leave the house with guns or knives or hammers, they were going to make a probable cause arrest. So at no point was the public in harm's way here. Yeah,
Just to
Jen.
clarify, it was just the grandfather he stayed with at the residence?
No, there were other family members at the residence as well. There was a grandmother and I think some siblings and some other family there.
I also note that it says his grandfather is a Christian minister in Charlotte. Is there any reason to believe that his family members were also in
I could tell you from his notes, he was targeting Jews, Christians, and LGBTQ individuals, and so you can infer from that that his family was in harm's way. I think that's a safe assumption, but it is an assumption. So, yeah, Hunter.
Special Agent Barnacle, I know you have been investigating, your office have been investigating him since 2022, but with this recent incident here, or thwarted attack, was it that undercover NYPD officer that really blew all of this up for this latest case and put him back on y'all's radar?
Yeah, so let me clarify. When we opened the case in January 2022, we conducted a logical investigation. Once he was seeking mental health services and he was no longer on social media, we closed our investigation. So he was off of our radar. In December, we had contact from FBI field offices, two different offices, well, three FBI field offices, as well as the NYPD undercover. Kind of simultaneous. I'm not sure which came in first, but certainly the NYPD undercover had the most information, the most facts. I think one of our FBI offices came in first. We got that information. We started working and we opened an investigation. But once we started talking to NYPD and the New York JTTF, we went full steam ahead. And this is a very compressed timeline. I want to say the FBI Washington field office reached out to us at night, and then the following morning we had that call with NYPD.
Can you just speak to what you can, how difficult this is to pull this off and thwart an attack like this?
Well, the FBI deals with threats every single day. Here in North Carolina, we get hundreds of viable or credible threats to life. And so our agents are really good at mitigating those threats, figuring out if they're credible and if the subject is capable of carrying out that threat. And so we go out and we do an investigation, a logical investigation. We often work with local police departments, and we go out and interview the person that posted different things. This one was different because this one was not only credible, but investigation revealed that the subject was capable of executing this attack. He was training, he was doing push-ups, calisthenics, fitness. He had stolen both of those knives. He hid them in his residence. His family had actively hid knives and weapons from him. He hid them. He wrote a manifest. He stole 2 hammers out of the storage shed and hid them in his house. He reached out to an undercover and requested guns. So all the different things are lining up that, you know, when your hair stands up on the back of your neck, that's not enough to charge. We still got to conduct an investigation. We still have to work with the U.S. attorney and prosecutors, and we still have to have a federal judge agree that there's probable cause to charge. These things are hard to do, but this is what we do.
Chief, I have a question for you if you don't mind. What is your message to the people of Mint Hill today? Again, you guys have been going through a lot within your own department, but what is your message to the community of Mint Hill today?
Very clear, clean and simple. Without the collaborative efforts with all the federal and local agencies involved, this clearly would have happened. Rest assured that even while you're asleep, law enforcement is still proactively working to keep you safe. I can't put it any clearer than that.
Any additional questions?
One more question.
Yeah.
So he was currently working at the Burger King?
Yes.
that area. From your knowledge, had you heard any type of concerns from employees or anyone in that area where he worked? Were there any type of red flags there as well?
I don't know.
Not to my knowledge, no. Anything else? Well, thank you all. Thank you for covering this, and Happy New Year.
Thank you. Happy New Year.
Thanks for being here. Good job. Thank you.
Whichever way. Okay.
I think we're good. Yeah. Can we say? Okay, thank you so much. Oh, okay, amen. I appreciate you.
You're like,